I am now watching the Orville.
Yeah, I was a little surprised by that.
You know, because I'm not like a Star Trek guy.
Me neither.
Never was. Probably never will be. Though now I'm kind of interested since I started watching the Orville and I like that. I'm like, maybe I would like Star Trek. It's going to sound a little weird. The reason I started watching the Orville is because I came across the compilation of Norm Macdonald.
Oh, yeah.
Because he plays Yaphet the Blob.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, this is very funny. And I want to
get the context of this.
Yeah, I want to watch more. And I've been actually really enjoying it. It's like a fun sci-fi show. I'm only in the first season. I'm almost done with that. From my understanding, it gets better as the seasons go.
Yeah.
What was weird, though, is I looked up some reviews like on the Orville, just like what people thought about it, because I was like, well, is this actually like, because again, I never watched Star Trek, so I'm not going to start watching like the original season, the original series, if I'm not, if it's not going to be my cup of tea.
Uh-huh.
So I was looking at the reviews and stuff, and everyone was like shitting on the Orville and saying it was garbage and all this stuff. But then if you go to like Rotten Tomatoes and stuff, like the critics give it like an awful score, but the fans really liked it. But the people on Reddit, the ones that really hated it are like hardcore Trekkies, and I almost feel like
they're just jealous.
Yeah, they just can't handle something that's like a funny version of Star Trek, like almost like a parody, I guess they feel.
Well, they are also like, a lot of those people are like, hate all of the new Star Trek stuff too.
They also were bitching about the new Star Trek.
So like they're just becoming more and more like the Star Wars fan, to where they're just like, I hate it all. There's nothing as good as the. It's not Star Trek, damn it! And it's just like I don't know what that means, but
for my gist of it, and I could be, because I'm completely out of my wheelhouse, so I could be wrong here. It seems that it's the original series and the new generation, the one that has Picard.
Next Generation.
I'm already wrong. So those two are the like,
main, yeah.
That's the the original Star Wars trilogy, if you're gonna go with that analogy.
But there's like a Deep Space Nine. There's like another like two.
There's
or
a
three
bunch.
of
There's
them.
like a Discovery. I don't know if that's a new one.
That was the first of the new ones.
But everybody apparently hates all that stuff except for the original two. Oh, was the Next Generation the second series?
Yeah, because that wasn't until like the 90s, I think.
I don't know. But if Star Trek covers, which I really like, is the idea of just going to various planets and you just get into mischief, and especially like the, almost like X-Files style monster of the week type of episodes too, that the Orville seems to do every once in a while here. I'm down for that. Of course, I could just keep watching the Orville, but I'm going to get caught up fairly soon. Though my one gripe is I'm watching it on Hulu, and Hulu is fucking atrocious. The ads, like literally every 5 minutes, there's a 2-minute ad break, and then it's super in Hulu. You get to mute it because it's super loud and it's just obnoxious, and I hate it.
That's worse if you would have seen it on if you watched it on just regular TV.
Yeah,
there wouldn't have been that many ads.
Yeah, and probably not for that long. So it's really shitty. Like a 40-minute episode takes an hour every time, and I'm like, why? Like when you came over, I should have been done with that episode 20 minutes before you walked in the door, but. I don't know. I don't know why they have to have so many ads. And I was looking up, like, I'm not going to pay more to have not had. I want to get rid of Hulu, if anything. Yeah. But, like, I guess the new season of Handmaid's Tale is coming out, and the missus likes that show. And I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to do. But anyway, I actually approve of the Orville. And maybe at the next book club, I'll ask some questions about Star Trek, since you don't seem to know much about it either.
Nope.
Though I feel if I went back and watched the original what was it? Kirk.
Yeah, Kirk and Spock.
Yeah, that was Spock in the original series. Mm-hmm. Who played? See, I keep combining them. So in the Next Generation, you had Picard.
Yeah, which is Xavier. Charles Xavier.
Yeah, that's no, fucking.
That's
Patrick Stewart.
It's Charles Xavier. He's Picard and Charles Xavier.
You had Mr. Reading Rainbow himself.
Yes.
And then who played Spock in that? It was a different guy, right?
I don't think there was Spock in there.
No, it was the robot guy. If anybody that loves Star Trek is listening to this, I'm fucking hating us right now. I can't remember his name. Data.
Oh, yeah, there was Data, yeah.
I like literally never having watched the show, not one episode of any of it, or movies or anything. And at least it's so in the zeitgeist that I at least know the names of random characters. And Mr. Zulu, that's the original, right? And then you had Michelle Nichols, whoever she played.
Yeah, she was in the original. She just passed away.
Yeah, and then like Shatner was Kirk, and then you had Leonard Nimoy. So I know that much.
That was Spock.
Spark. I like Spark better. Sparky. That could be Data if he's like the knockoff. Whatever. So anyway, that's yeah. Watch the Orville, folks, if you like sci-fi. And again, I'm not even a big sci-fi TV show kind of guy. Like I watched the first couple seasons of The Expanse, and I thought that was really good.
You know who I like? Bortus.
Bortus. I do love me some Bortus. I like all the characters so far. I think it's a very well-balanced crew, and I enjoy it, so I'm going to keep watching it. Yeah. So anyway, we got a great show for you folks, so we can't have too long of a cold open because we're going real pop culture today.
Too high of expectations.
Yeah, don't get your expectations up that much. It's going to be an okay show at best. You are listening to the Drunken Penwriting Podcast, and I am going to speak just like this for the whole entire episode.
Monotone.
If we had robots that were not very sophisticated, this is how they would probably sound. Laugh, laugh, ha, ha, ha.
Let's be honest, they would still sound better than us.
Most likely. I'm your host, Caleb James. With me today, loading. Spencer, the Hong Kong Hank Hill Humper Church.
Oh.
Yeah. Well, like that.
That's a weird mixture of two different cultures there.
Yeah, Texas. But there was an episode I remember where Hank Hill goes, I actually think that he went to Japan, and it turns out he has a brother.
Oh, yeah? Oh,
the Asian brother, because his dad.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And it was really funny from what I remember.
Does he also have no ass?
Yeah. I'll have to show you the clip from it because I don't even remember if I actually saw the episode. But it was really fucking funny. Anyway, today's episode, Spencer. You want to know what the episode's about?
Sure, why not?
You can find out by subscribing to our Patreon. I hate that because I listen to a couple of podcasts that do that where it's like, oh, they'll drop a really cool title of an episode. I'm like, ooh, that sounds really interesting, but Patreons only. And I'm like, I'm not giving you money. That's a little extreme. No, today's episode, what makes a hero, Spencer? Now, we covered the hero's journey, I believe, but have we ever actually broke down what makes someone a hero?
I don't believe so.
What makes your character a hero? And
even if we did, I'm sure we got some different insights or new people who don't like to go back to
Yeah, I don't blame them. I was inspired to come up with this idea because every once in a while, usually every 3 to 6 months, I end up binge watching some of my favorite scenes from Marvel movies and just different movies. Not just Marvel movies, because I watch things like, you know what, I'll get into that in a minute. But I'm going to use the Marvel movies example because that's what started off the binge yesterday.
Okay.
I was sitting at home, and I just happened to see a YouTube clip of, what was it? Fuck it. Doesn't matter. I think it was something from Endgame. Because it always goes in the same pattern for me. I watch one of the whatever scene it is from Endgame. One of them will pop up, and then I'm like, oh yeah, you know what that makes me want to see? I want to see Captain America lift the hammer. Then I want to see the audience reaction to Captain America lifting the hammer. And then I want to see him do the Avengers Assemble when he's facing down a whole army. And
yeah, there's a good 15 to 20 minutes there towards the end of Endgame that's completely rewatchable multiple times.
Wanda just fucking about to destroy Thanos.
And just for the viewers, you just see Spider-Man just flipping away in the background that you never noticed before where,
Tony Stark just sacrificing himself for the betterment of mankind. And then there's also, not just the scene where he says, I am Iron Man, and then he snaps, but then you can find the Iron Maiden version of it where he goes, I am Iron. He has the music that goes with it. You're like, fuck! You get all pumped up, punch the kid in the face. That one's not sad at all. It just pumps you up. But anyway, so I went down the whole wormhole. So then I get to the redemption of Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man saving his, the other MJ, and it's like, oh fuck. And then I get all emotional watching these, and then I go to the death scenes where I'm watching Spider-Man die, Tony Stark die. I'm just like, that's what it was. I watched. It was just a random clip. The Guardians of the Galaxy dance off where he's distracting blue guy. I forget his name now.
No.
least important
yeah.
villain. And then they shoot the Power Stone out of his hand. I believe that was the Infinity Stone. And then Quill jumps out in slow motion, grabs it, and he's fucking and that's before you know he has a bit of what do they call them? Not Eternals. Eternal?
Something like that.
Like what Ego is.
Yeah.
Anyway, so he has a little bit of that in him, which he didn't know because he didn't know his dad was a living planet. And then, so he's not going to die, but you think he's going to die because that's what's supposed to happen to a mortal that holds the stone. And so, again, it's supposed to be a big sacrifice, and they all come together and pretty much they're going to sacrifice themselves, and you're just like, fuck.
Well, what about even right before that scene, the whole whenever they're getting ready to crash right before that, and Groot wraps himself in it, and it's just we are Groot. Yeah, that we are Groot. Like
I'd fucking get you. And then Rocket's like, why, Groot? You're gonna die, and you're like, damn it. You start shaking, shit your pants a little. They do those scenes so well in those movies. But going back, like I said, there's other scenes from other movies are also my go-to. Hacksaw Ridge, which I don't even think I've ever actually watched that movie, but the fact that it's based on a real guy, and I don't know if you've ever seen that movie, but the Mel Gibson movie.
I haven't watched it, but I know because again, isn't that
Andrew Garfield?
Yeah, Andrew Garfield.
He's playing, and I apologize if I fucking mess up his name. I think it's Devin Dawes. Like I said, I didn't watch the movie. But he was a pacifist. Like, his religion prohibited him from killing anybody. He's not going to kill anybody, and this is World War II, right? Yeah. So he gets drafted. Actually, I think he wanted to enlist, but he just didn't want to shoot anybody. And they're trying to kick him out of the army. They're trying to arrest him. They're trying to do all this awful shit to him. And he's like, no, I want to be, like, I'll be a medic, you know. I'm not going to hold a gun, but I'll say. So he goes into this fucking, just this war against the Japanese, and he just literally no weapon, and he saves like 70 fucking guys, drags them out of there, and even saves some of the Japanese guys. But you're just watching, you're just like, holy fuck. And then there's a scene where, and it's one of those rare movies where Vince Vaughn's like good.
Yeah.
You know, like when he just decides to be a good actor and stuff.
Because he can be.
Yeah. And then what really fucking gets you, this is what teared me up. Like I said, I watched a bunch of scenes from it. I think it was one of those ones I couldn't watch the whole movie because it was like $20 or something. Like I really don't think I watched that movie, but I know I watched enough scenes where I pieced it together. But there's a part like in training, I don't know if it's basic training or whatever, but the guys are giving him shit, and since he's a pacifist and he won't fight, like they have to do more push-ups and all this shit, and they end up beating the fuck out of him, and he won't snitch on them. Like the sergeant comes in, he won't snitch on him, and then he ends up fucking saving all these guys. Yeah. He saves their lives, and like. He weighs like 130 pounds, and and this is a real story. Like, he did all this shit. You're like, holy fuck. So things like that is like what makes a hero. And I think who described it best, if we wanted to go to the most basic definition of what makes a hero, is when we watched Neil Gaiman's masterclass, when he was talking about Coraline. Being a hero isn't being brave. It's doing the right thing when you're scared shitless. And that's what real bravery is, when you do something and you're scared to do it. If you're not scared to do it, you're just, you're going to do it. That's not really that brave.
Yeah. Or the you do whatever it is that you're doing because you can.
Yeah.
Spider-Man is, probably my favorite Spider-Man, or Spider-Man's probably my favorite comic character.
He could go and just be an NBA athlete, make millions of dollars or something. He doesn't have to save people.
Well, and then, because you get the whole Uncle Ben, and with great power comes great responsibility. And that's always one of the things that's a hallmark of him. But there's always constant times where somebody be like, why are you doing this? Why are you doing the things that you do? And he, he's saved his enemies countless times and stuff like that. And it's and the answer is, because I can. Yeah. I can do it, so I will do it. And he's very much like the, he's not a pacifist like the guy in that war movie, but he, especially through the past, decade or so, he had a very, nobody dies. Nobody dies on my watch. I save everybody. And then, so when he doesn't save somebody, it's that he,
wrecks them.
And even whenever it's not his fault, he shoulders that burden, you know what I mean? So.
Well, here's 3 of my favorite scenes that don't deal with an actual superhero at the time. 2 of them are Captain America movies. The first one is the very first. You probably know where I'm going. The first Captain America movie where Tommy Lee Jones is talking to the other sergeant or whatever.
Yeah, it's like during like
basic training, boot camp. And he's talking to the scientist guy. The guy's like, he's like, he wants to pick the big bully guys to be the test for the serum. And he's like, look, he's big, he's strong, he's a soldier. And he's like, yeah, but you need more than that. Like the scientist guy is trying to explain to him that that's not the ideal candidate. It's somebody who has the morals and the bravery and the heart of a hero, not necessarily the physique. And he throws a dummy grenade. Tommy Lee Jones, to test it, throws a dummy grenade in a big group where everybody's doing like jumping jacks or something. And you know who fucking dies on it? 100-pound Steve Rogers.
Yeah.
And he's like telling everybody, get away, go. He had nothing to gain there.
No.
Everybody could have just ran away. He dives on the fucking grenade before he has powers or anything, 100% believing he's going to die, but he's going to save people. That's a hero. The second one, the other captain, was this from Winter Soldier?
Well, even a little bit before that, like before he does the training, they do that clip where he is saving, like he's fighting a bully,
and he won't back down.
And he has a garbage can. It's such a good like tease of foreshadowing what's going on.
The garbage can.
He has the garbage
shield.
can as the shield, and it's the I don't like bullies.
The other one, this might have been. You'll have to correct me if I'm wrong here. I think it was from the Winter Soldier. No, it couldn't have been. It was when Loki came down. Maybe it was an Avengers movie.
Maybe, yeah.
It's when Loki is essentially. I think he's in Germany, and he makes all the humans bow down to him, and he's doing this pretty much a Hitler speech. I'm a god and stuff. And then he's going on about this is your rightful place, subjugated to me on your knees or whatever he's saying. And then one old man stands up. And he's like, no, he's not going to take it. And you get the implication that he was there for Hitler doing this.
Yeah.
But it could have easily been the Red Skull. In the Marvel universe. But either way, he was there for a tyrant who ruled people. He's probably a kid when that happened.
And he's not going to do it again.
He doesn't care. He stands up knowing he's going to die. And he says, no. And then the Loki gives the line talking about, like, there's nobody like me, or there's no men like me. And the guy says, there's always men like you. And then he's about to kill him, and then that's when Captain America jumps in. But who's the actual hero of that scene? Was it Captain America who saved the old guy? Or was it the old guy standing up even though he wasn't gonna...
Even knowing that he was gonna die.
Yeah. And this wasn't the third scene I was gonna talk about, just because we're talking about just random people. The train scene in Spider-Man 2, when the people all stand up to Doc Ock when Peter Parker's down and out. Like, Joey Diaz is up front.
Yeah.
And he even swallows real hard. He's going to get fucked up. They all know they're probably going to die. But again, no. That's what I loved about that movie. Is it shows like New Yorkers standing together. It's like, no, this is fucking our guy. We're going to, we'll do what we can to protect him, which they weren't able to. But the fact that they tried. The third scene, what was it? Shit. While I think of that, do you have any favorite scenes?
I mean, there's would like to go back to those like the Spider-Mans or the Green Goblin, where he has Mary Jane, and he has it's not a bus, but whatever, like that cart full of people.
Yeah.
And he drops them both, trying to, you're like, oh, you can only save one, but no, Spider-Man, he saves them both. He almost stripped himself in half doing it.
Yeah, but he saves them both.
But yeah, there's like I said, like, there's a good like 20 minutes of Endgame, whenever he either picks up the shield or just like the, whenever the comms come on come on, and it's the Falcon on your left to call back to all those. Oh man, just like all that stuff is great. It's so hard to pick out, but I feel like the Captain America movies did the best of showing what like Captain America is and what makes Captain America Captain
What
America.
makes him worthy of holding Thor's hammer.
Yeah, like and I'm not even like a huge Captain America guy, but like those next to like before the Spider-Man movies came, that was my favorite like franchise out of the Marvel movies, were those Captain America movies.
Yeah, they were really good. I can't remember what that last one was, but there's a lot of great examples of a hero, like what makes a hero. And I like to always go to the ones that are, I remembered. The third one.
There you go.
This is why I couldn't. This is why I was on like the tip of my tongue, but it was just. It's Hancock, the movie Hancock, because it's a superhero movie, but not.
Yeah.
What it had one of my favorite scenes in that whole movie had nothing to do with being a superhero. It was a line in the movie, and I don't remember it directly here, so I'll paraphrase. But there was a scene where I think one of the cops tells Will Smith, he was a superhero, he could do whatever he wants, pretty much Superman in that universe. He was like, hey, you gotta say thank you or something to these cops, and he was kind of thinking, what the fuck would I say thank you to this? And they're like, then the one cop says something along the lines of, these guys are out here and they're not bulletproof, and it just he finally gets it, because it shows him that, oh shit, yeah, I am, I'm the hero, quote unquote, but I can't die, I can't really get hurt or anything. These guys though out here who are trying to do the right thing, they're not immortals. They get hit with a flying car, they're dead. So they get shot, they're fucked up, or they're dead. So I like that parallel of the hero and then the regular man, and then it's like, who's the actual hero though? Because it's easy to be a hero. You were bringing up off air about Wonder Woman walking through that what was it, the Dead Man's Land. Like, that's inspiring because she goes through that and she's deflecting bullets and all this shit. But
she's also a god.
Yeah, she's a god. What about the regular people who were in that area, like the regular soldiers? Like, that's why the Superman thing is always hard to make him really likable or relatable, because he could, what's the risk to him? It has to be somebody else that he's saving.
I was just going to bring up that one of the main things in a lot of Superman stuff that I've been reading recently is how he aspires people in Metropolis just by helping them out, by seeing him do stuff that is kind of causing a ripple effect of the other citizens doing other small things that help. And then, depending on the story, that even kind of will circle back around to helping Superman with something of, the city, that he's been trying to save and protect, giving back to him.
Yeah.
And I wanted to get to Superman eventually because, with him being basically the first superhero, and he is kind of like the model of a hero of even more so than Spider-Man, because it's
the thing about Superman is if he didn't have his powers, he would still be trying to save people.
Yeah, he'd still
That's what makes him a hero, not his powers.
And that even his Clark Kent is he, with his writing, he'll not only will go and punch the bad guy in the face, but he'll write a story exposing a bad corporation that will help get people money or whatever, what I mean, bring light onto something.
Helps real people in real life versus, how many, you might be saving people if you're stopping a monster and stuff like that, but that's not going to affect everybody's everyday life, such as what his Clark Kent work does.
And he, selflessness of it, because, there's always the comparison between, him and Batman, to where Batman, he's a hero, but it's more driven by this need of wanting to
vengeance.
Yeah, wanting to stop whatever happened to him. He wants to stop that from happening to anybody else. But Superman is more, I don't want to say proactive, because that's not right, but it's more he's helping because he wants to, and he, in his mind, it will make a change. It will, to where Batman's I know this isn't really working, but it's the only thing I can do to, to even try to help, even though that he's a billionaire and he could, make cheap schools and whatever and all that stuff. But that's a whole nother episode. And also the screw loose that Batman, ultimately has.
Well, Batman, he wants to stop evil. Superman, he kind of, it's different. It's not like he wants to stop evil. He wants there to just not be evil. He wants to bring out the good in the world, whereas Batman wants to fight the bad in the world, if that makes sense. It's optimism versus pessimism. It's one guy sees the glass half full, the other one sees it half empty. Batman's the empty guy. He thinks everything's bad and needs fixing, where, of course, Gotham is shitty.
Yeah.
Metropolis is a little better. But Superman, he sees the hope in the world. Superman means hope.
Yeah, well, Superman's more of a global hero.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, Batman's pretty local.
Yeah. The thing I do like about Batman and what I always find interesting, all of his sidekicks, like his Batman family, and just how they turn out, because, you have Nightwing, who's the first Robin, and he is just as good as Batman in a lot of things, better than some. A lot of time he's always credited as the second greatest detective on the planet behind Batman, but he's able to not get past his trauma, but he's been able to
accept it
and deal with it in a more healthy manner. So he's not always
not dressing like a bat and punching clowns.
So he's not always pushing people away or always very broody. I mean,
can have more healthy relationships.
Yeah, more. Yeah, I mean, well, shit. He also bangs aliens and stuff too. But I mean,
nice.
But then you also got the Jason Todds that get killed by the Joker and all that stuff. I just think that's always a cool dynamic, and to see the effects that he has on this other generations of heroes, and how and it is kind of almost like the father-son thing of the father's job is always kind of have the kid be a better version of you. I mean, well, both parents in general, your job is to make this little person be a better version of what you guys were.
Yeah.
And their job is, if they have kids, to make a better version of them. So that's always interesting to me.
Well, going back to Spider-Man, because this really is applicable to Superman especially, and Batman, because Batman has the no-kill, supposedly. I mean, in the older Batman, he's throwing fucking guys off of helicopters and shit, but he
maiming and crippling are A-okay.
Supposedly Batman is a no-kill superhero, and Superman doesn't kill either. He's the Boy Scout. But I'm bringing up Spider-Man just because of No Way Home. Tobey Maguire prevents Tom Holland's Spider-Man from killing the Goblin who killed his aunt, and he ends up getting stabbed for it.
Who has also killed people.
The Goblin once,
but who has also killed people that Tobey Maguire has loved too, and he's stepping up to save. So even on both those parts, there.
But what I like about that, and that's what the main driving factor for a lot of villains seems to be, and what really proves if a person's a hero or not, is how they act when they're pushed to the edge, when they're pushed to their limit. So in that situation, a young, immature Spider-Man was about to kill the Green Goblin, not thinking it through, whereas Tobey Maguire's Peter Parker, he lived that, and he knows another way now. He's older, he's more mature, so he stops him. But if you use that same thing for Superman, what's a villain going to do? If they could find out Superman's love interest is Lois Lane, you're going to try to kill Lois Lane because that pushes Superman over the edge. And then
there's that whole Injustice series where the Joker kills Lois Lane, who is pregnant with his kid, and it just fucking sends him. That's what sends him over into, making him kind of, trying to rule the world and everything like that. That you take that thing away from somebody.
Well, what I like about those kind of stories, and Batman always falls victim to these stories, is it shows you where their limit is, and then when they finally snap, and let's say we'll use the Man of Steel, he kills Zod. Kind of had to, but it obviously eats him up. But once they break, like Batman, if he kills the Joker, the Killing Joke, he broke his rule, he broke his one moral code, and it pushed him over the limit. And now what aspect you have to go with is the hero's redemption. Because everybody could get pushed over the limit. Like, depending on the situation, I don't think there's anyone who's infallible to, there's even Superman is not infallible to not being a hero in certain moments.
And, what I liked about Man of Steel, because again, I've said before, I'm not a huge Superman guy, so when they want to make some changes to him or make him a little bit darker or take the fucking underwear off of his pants, I don't get all, freaked out about that. But, what I did like about Man of Steel is it's well, first of all, that's very like he was Superman for like the last like 20 or 30 minutes of that movie, so he has no idea or concept of what Superman is yet.
He's learning how to be a hero. He's not a hero yet.
So that's a good learning block and like redemption thing. But like you have this superpowered person who is your equal in every way, who is even more so because he's been around. He knows like Kryptonian physiology. He like he knows all the stuff that they can do, and the only way to save that parent and that family in that train station is to take out the threat. Sometimes you have to break that moral code to save.
Yeah.
It's not, you can't always, you know what I mean? As to kind of take it back to war, like you want to do the right thing and you want to help but like sometimes
it's not always black and white.
Yeah, it's a lot of gray in those situations. And so sometimes you have to break your
own... the old train conductor, problem where on the left you have your loved one tied to the track. On the right you have 10 people you don't know tied to the track, and you can only save one side.
Yeah, who do you pick?
Yeah, it's like one of those things. If you want to be more objective about it, you have 2 on the left that you don't know and 5 on the right that you do or you don't know any of them, then you're probably going to sacrifice the 2.
Yeah.
But to be a hero, and you can't, like, it's that choice, and that's why another great hero part of the hero's journey and the hero's redemption is when they have to let go of their loved one to say for the greater good.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's a tough call to make, like in The Dark Knight, the Joker, he did the whole boat full of innocent people, boat full of criminals. I think that was it. It's like, what, who blows up who? Like, they get to pick, and the criminals were the ones that are like, no, you know what? We'll go down if we have to.
Well, actually, it was just Debo.
Debo.
It was just Debo.
Everybody was just like, all right.
Ain't gonna fuck with Debo.
Fair enough. I'd rather take my chance with the bomb.
Which is also another interesting, just like side note of like, just because you did something bad and you are in prison for something doesn't, condemn you from being terrible or evil forever. You're still able to you're able to still redeem yourself, even if it's something that that it might hurt you in the end.
That's why I like the original ending to The Shining is Jack Nicholson's character, Jack Torrance in the book. And I think they did in the miniseries, he has like a moment of clarity where he's like, which is supposed to be about alcoholism, the moment of clarity, where he does sacrifice himself to save his family in the end. Does not happen in the movie version, Stanley Kubrick's version, which is, that would be my biggest critique is, in the book, it's Jack Torrance going crazy. In the movie, he's already crazy from Jump Street.
Yeah, and you don't get that little sliver of redemption.
Yeah,
hey,
that's what I like is when, whether it's usually the villain, they do something to at least somewhat redeem themselves. Maybe they're doing something. Doc Ock's a good example. In the end of the Spider-Man movie, Spider-Man 2, at the end, he has, again, moment of clarity, takes himself down to save everybody. And nobody's going to know except for Spider-Man. So those moments are great. Shifting gears just because we did enough of your superhero stuff.
Okay.
We're going to go my wheelhouse now.
All right.
What I think exemplifies a hero very well is Tolkien's creation, which is, I don't think it's actually his creation, but the reluctant hero. Bilbo Baggins, Frodo Baggins, Samwise, like all these characters, all these hobbits, they're men of leisure. Mm-hmm. They didn't want to go on these adventures. They don't want to leave their holes. They don't want to save the world. They just don't want to be bothered. But ultimately, they're heroes, and they do what's right, and they go through with this fucking just terrible. Like, would you want to walk across the United States and back?
No.
And through mountains and shit, and you don't even have shoes, and it's just cold and rainy all the time, and you have to fight monsters nonstop, and you're like 3 feet tall. No, you probably wouldn't, but they do it because some old guy said they have to, and if they don't, the world ends, and they're like, well, can't have the world end. Fuck. I like that. The reluctant hero who just ultimately turns into the hero. And why that's good is because even though Mr. Tolkien hates allegory, it is a perfect allegory of the World War I and World War II soldiers who they knew they were fighting actual evil. And even though, like, for the Americans especially, it's like, we don't really have to get involved in this shit. World War One probably more so than World War II because we got bombed. But again, we didn't have to go to Germany, really. Our beef was with Japan. But we stepped up and we're like, all right, we're going to help out. But it's just like the reluctant hero. It's like, I don't really want to do this, but it needs done. I'm going to do it. Toki,
like a lot of time it's like, I don't want to do this, but it's like, I'm the only person that can.
Yeah,
so I must.
That's a great point. I'm the only one that can. If I don't, evil wins. War's bad altogether. Every war's bullshit. It's usually
war's bad, okay?
Yeah, war's bad. It's always fucking rich guy making poor people kill each other. Like, that's what it generally is. But I would say World War II is the last real war that I can think of where at least you had, this side's evil.
Yeah.
Like, this is bad and this is good. After that, it's
just like everybody's kind of shitty.
Yeah, it's like, and I can only really speak from the American side here, but like the Vietnam War is like, why the fuck are we even over there? Like, Vietnam is fucking communism, killing their own people, all this shit. Yeah, I get we want world police or whatever. We shouldn't be over there. So we go over there and we kill a bunch of innocent people.
But like, it could have been like one thing, like, hey, let's try to go over there and help, and but that's not, and then. But like, have it go out for like a decade where we're just slaughtering generations.
Well, I mean, can you think of any war post World War II that like America was the good guy? We're not necessarily, we might always be the bad guy, but we're not doing good things. Like everything in the Middle East, it's like we're kind of the bad guy. We're blowing up innocent people too. So it's like that's when we just switch to like rich people, fucking causing poor people to die unnecessarily. So there's no heroes after World War II, in my opinion. Granted, the people who are fighting these wars, the poor innocent souls, they're the heroes because they're just doing what they think is right. But I mean, if you really go by that viewpoint, you could kind of say the Nazi soldiers, not the generals and everyone in charge, just the guys that it's like, hey, you either fight for us or your family dies. Yeah. It's like, well, okay. Well, like to them, they're probably thinking they were doing the right thing. Not all of them were probably... I mean, I'm sure a lot of them were, but you can't say every Nazi was like a Jew-hating evil person. Yeah,
they were probably just trying to survive.
And I could base that on our war war on terror that we had in the United States after 9/11. We went over there and it was like, we should probably go to Afghanistan for some reason. And then we're just killing innocent people, but we're just so gun-ho that we're just thinking, we're doing the right thing. We're killing terrorists. But you're not, though. You might be killing some terrorists, but you're also killing innocent people. I don't want to go too into the weeds of politics and stuff, but it's just it's not ever very defined whether, and we talked about this in previous episodes about like the villain's motivations are right for them, so they might think they are doing good.
Every hero is a villain, or every villain is a hero in their own mind.
Yeah, for the most part, maybe not like the Joker.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Which, if you have a really interesting villain, they actually think they're like Thanos. They think they're doing the right thing. The Thanos Infinity War comics, he's just trying to impress death.
Yeah,
not cool.
No,
he's just like crazy, and it's not like. But in the movies,
he's trying to balance the cosmos.
Yeah, I feel like that's like respectable.
Yeah,
maybe he's not doing it right, but
again, it's like if you have all that, why can't you just be like
more stuff,
extra stuff?
Because he's a jerk.
Yeah,
he's purple.
Yeah.
I don't like purple guys with ball chins. Is there anything else you want to touch on? Because I'm not trying to go into the hero's journey. I just want to talk about some aspects of being a hero. And I thought it would be fun to just do like the movie stuff we've watched. If you go through like books and stuff, see, in literary fiction, it's usually not defined that there is a hero in a lot of the stories because it's just real life almost.
It's you get the protagonist and the antagonist, but even still, those, depending on
if you think like of a Mice and Men, there's no heroes in that.
No.
There's no real bad guys in that. It's just people living their lives. If I think of East to Eden, it's one of my favorite Steinbeck books. There's a clear villain in the story, but she is kind of a psychopath, so you can at least give her that, but still a villainous circumstance for the most part. And then there's no real heroes in it because it's not that kind of story. There's a lot of stories that don't have or don't feature the hero's journey. And again, that's a lot of literary fiction. But if you go into genre fiction, that's where it's more defined usually. Because you always have like the general, you have to overcome something. That's what usually makes you a hero. But I can't think of any books that really define it any better than we already explained with the superhero stuff. Because that's the most like obvious.
Yeah.
Like, you know, you got the heroes. They're actually called superheroes. Because they're supposed to really exemplify what it means to be a hero to a super level. Like, it's supposed to be almost parody. It's like Superman is almost a parody of what a hero is. Captain America is a great one because he's so red, white, and blue that it's like, for his initial run punching Nazis and stuff, you're like, oh, this is almost comical. This guy is so over the top. But then they mellowed him out, and he actually, like Civil War, for example, like, you know, he has to do what he feels is right versus what, you know, it's right for the country and everything.
Again, like I said, in like that series, because there's been many comics too where it's like Captain America is at odds with the country. He swore to protect and stuff. And he has the fucking shield and the fucking A on his head, like, you know, but like he finds himself at odds with them a lot of times because of the stuff that they do. You
know who's a very interesting character when it comes to what it means to be a hero? Rorschach.
Yeah.
Because, and actually you could throw Dr. Manhattan and Ozymandias in all of them because people, especially now, I really don't think they give Watchmen the credit it deserves for the hero breakdown.
Oh, yeah, because there's just been so much stuff that's been built off of that people don't even realize the origin of a lot of that stuff.
Well, let's break it down. Rorschach, heinous guy. He'll kill anybody.
But one of the most likable characters in the entire series.
And why is that? Because he has a moral compass that he will follow to what he believes is the truth and what is real, no matter what. He's not going to stray from that moral compass. So he might murder a lot of mobsters, maybe murder people unjustly, just like some of the stuff they might do probably doesn't deserve getting decapitated or something, but it doesn't matter. You can probably throw a Punisher on him with that too. But he has an end, and he sacrifices himself at the end of like the book and the movie because he knows what is right and what is wrong ultimately. And no matter what, he's like, hey, if I gotta fucking die, whatever, but this is right and you guys are wrong.
It's also kind of like when you're talking about that old man standing up to Loki. It's, you know, he kind of knows, like, yes, this is going to bring the war together, but he also knows that he can't stand being in this war, knowing this and not. So he's like, I'm going to tell, like, you know, I think he was basically goading Manhattan into killing him because he knew that he wouldn't be able to not go against that.
Here's his moral dilemma, too. It's, yes, what Ozymandias, because we'll get to him in a second, what his plan will do is bring the world together, but millions of people, and if you go with the movie version, maybe even billions of people, because they blow up multiple cities in that, are going to die. And then that's the train conductor thing again. It's like, okay, is that killing millions to save billions? You know, like, that's a tough decision. To Rorschach, it's not a tough decision. You don't kill innocent people. So it doesn't matter if the world comes together. You're not going to blow up a city. In the book, it's New York City. You're not going to blow it up because again, you don't know if they're going to come together. You're just assuming. That goes to Ozymandias. He is the villain who is a hero because he thinks, you know, he's the hero of his own mind. He thinks he's going to bring the world together because he's the smartest man on the planet. And in theory, it should. But his way about doing it is like, it's evil. You're going to kill anyone. Like, that's fucked up. And then you got Dr. Manhattan. He has a very interesting role because he starts off as a hero, but he loses his humanity as the story unfolds because he becomes more godlike. And then he finally almost gets to the point where he's just like, I don't really care about humans anymore.
Well, it's that weird, like, he knows as soon as he gets trapped in that thing and he gets turned and he comes back as Dr. Manhattan. It's like he already knows. It's that weird thing you get with like some time travels or these, like,
he knows all the outcomes.
He knows it's happening, and there's nothing you can do to stop that from happening.
Like, he just knows everything.
So it's just gonna happen. So he just lets it go.
Well, what happens is Rorschach follows his moral compass and doesn't even stop to think that maybe he's wrong. Maybe he's going in the wrong direction. There's no change in him. Ozymandias, he ends up going and following his moral compass in the wrong direction, and he just continues that direction. And it doesn't matter if someone else shows him something that, like, hey, you know, maybe there's another way. Or so he's almost like Rorschach is. He's gonna. They're just like on a crash course to whatever their end is. But then Dr. Manhattan, he's risen above a moral compass. There is no compass for him anymore. He doesn't view the world like you were saying. He views all things at once. Like, he doesn't view the world as we would. It's just, it doesn't matter to him. He just becomes like a part of the universe. And he might as well just be like a clump of dirt. Like, it doesn't matter what happens to him. It doesn't matter what happens to anybody. He's just kind of there viewing it, which would be a very depressing but also very liberating way to live. Like, I wouldn't mind being like not caring about anything anymore, and also having really cool powers.
And walking around with your dick out because nobody who's going to say anything.
And you could change sizes of it, but you don't care to. That's the weird thing. So anyway, superheroes, man. I feel like we could do another episode on this in the future. That could be fun. Maybe use more non-superhero versions for people who don't like superheroes. I feel like everybody knows what we're talking about, though. So
yeah, it's a good
it's a good barometer.
Yeah, to talk about the things.
Anyway, folks, if you want to check out our work, you go to drunkenpenwriting.com. Go to the old Twitter at drunkpenwriting, Instagram and Facebook at drunkenpenwriting, and you can leave us a review on iTunes or whatever podcast service you have that has reviews. That'd be much appreciated, so we get boosted up in the algorithm, Spencer.
Algorithms.
And then you can go to Spencer's OnlyFans. That is the Hong Kong Hank Hill Humper. It's gonna be a weird one. So thank you for listening.
A lot of propane.
And propane accessories.
Yes.
And Boomhauer, too. So we'll check you next time.
Excelsior.